What up? Welcome to the third episode of I Asked No One with Kevin Ray LoVullo. The church bells are ringing across the street. That means it's noon. So cool. Yeah, today's a special episode. I know in episode 1 it was about 12 minutes, and then last week it was about 50. So I'm going to try to keep this kind of nice and sweet. Not to say last week was not all killer, no filler, but we're going to have some fun today. It's a Slipknot themed motherfucking, I know my mom's watching, episode. So this mask I last wore, and All Out Life music video, Slipknot. Gonna get into that in a little bit. You know what's so cool? I received a hoodie in the mail pretty recently, and I'm on it. So if you could see right in the middle there, the tall dude, that's me. Pretty cool. Thank you, Slipknot. I'll get into that. But first, got to cheers to my girlfriend, Ashlyn, who just turned 24. Ashlyn, I love you. Happy birthday. And an RIP, rest in peace, Mr. Little Richard. Real name Richard Wayne Penniman. Passed away this week at the age of 87. I can't really drink with this mask on, so. Cheers. So, Little Richard, I'm going to take this off for now. What's up? How's it going? Little Richard, you know, I don't know too much about him. I didn't know too much about Chuck Berry when he passed away either. These guys are absolutely legends in the music industry. There's no Rolling Stones, there's no Led Zeppelin, you know, there's no Bob Dylan, none of those guys. Elton without Little Richard and Chuck Berry paving the way. It's the whole attitude, it's the performance, the showmanship, the whole entire thing. The only thing I knew about Little Richard was, you ever see the movie Predator with Arnold Schwarzenegger? There's a part in the beginning of the movie where they're all arriving in the jungle, and Arnold's in there with his team. And it's all lit red, it's dark, they're about to go into battle, and they're playing a song to kind of loosen the mood. And that song was Long Tall Sally. And it was just hilarious. Blaine was Jesse the Body Ventura. One of my favorite moments in that movie was when he was chewing, big ass chew. He's a former wrestler, real testosterone. His biceps were even bigger by a few inches than Arnold's biceps at the time of filming that movie, which is funny. But he had a chew in, and the songs go on, you know. Woo, baby, give me something tonight, yeah. You know, the song's going off, and everyone's razzing him about the using the chew, and he's just like in his voice, "What the slack-jawed faggots we got around here? This stuff will make you a goddamn sexual tyrannosaurus, just like me." And his buddy shows him this gun. "Strap this in your sore ass, Blaine." You remember that? So there you go. Little Richard, Arnold Schwarzenegger. Good stuff. Today in music, Krist Novoselic of Nirvana, bassist, Kurt's best buddy. He turns 55 today, which is pretty sweet. And you know what turns 50 today, which is really cool? This record by Crosby, Stills, Nash Young, Déjà Vu, 1970. 1970 was 50 years ago. Pretty nuts. Crosby, Stills, Nash Young. Really amazing vocal harmonies. I know we were talking about Alice in Chains last week, but I think the kings of bridging voices together in music, vocal harmonies, these guys, David Crosby, Stephen Stills, Graham Nash, Neil Young. Amazing record. The opening song, "Carry On," if you've ever heard it before, one of my personal all-time favorite songs, and one of those songs that my dad, actually this CD, this very CD, my dad used to play a lot when we would be driving to hockey practices up to Canada, or, throughout the Western New York and 5 a.m. practices and so on. That's one of the songs that I remember Dad always playing, and a lot of fond memories with that. I used to work at Wolfgang Puck Restaurant, Hotel Bel Air in Bel Air, California, in the Bel Air district in Los Angeles, between the years of 2015 and 17. I was the front of house lead host at the restaurant, which is right in the middle of this hotel, a jewel of a hotel in California and Los Angeles. If you mention Hotel Bel Air to anyone in LA, they know exactly what you're talking about. And it was an honor to work there, really. Chef Wolfgang, he lived right up the street. And, I'll get into Hotel Bel Air maybe at a future episode. But I met so many celebrities, and that would be one episode. Now that I think about it, I'll just talk about all the celebrities I met. But one of those guys that I met was David Crosby of Crosby, Stills, Nash Young. I met him and his wife, and they would come in every once in a while. And they were staying at the hotel, and I drove to work that morning every day playing that Déjà Vu record. And just to kind of shoot the shit with him briefly, and his wife, I spoke a little bit more with his wife. Really, really nice people. And we're talking back in 2016 that he had to leave the hotel. I didn't see that, but that was what the word was out about. And he had some sort of health issue. I don't know exactly what it was, but it sounds like he's recovered from it, which is really, really cool. But his wife kind of confided in me about what happened. And she was like, she was kind of relying on me to kind of settle her nerves, which was just a trip. And yeah, again, it was an honor to meet those kinds of people. Nuts. So Déjà Vu is 50. Crank it today. I definitely will be. And you know what? 10 years ago today, Ronnie James Dio passed away. He arguably created the sign, which, to me is a fuck yeah, rock and roll, have fun. It's just it's a lifestyle. And he used to do that on stage, in the early 70s with Rainbow and Elf, and then on to Black Sabbath in a solo project. So, which was huge in the 80s. Ronnie James Dio died 10 years ago. He had stomach cancer at the age of 67, if I remember correctly. And I remember it was like a week or two before an interview came out, and he was actually doing really, really, really well. And then boom, passed away. Legend. He is in the metal community. He's like an Ozzy Osbourne. Just and all I hear about is how much of a nice guy he was. So, fuck yeah, Ronnie. R.I.P. man. And it was 3 days later. It was 3 days after Ronnie had passed. Me, Ryan, Steve Wood, Chris Helmeser, Matt McCarthy, we drove out to Glens Falls, New York, right by Albany, to see Alice in Chains. And the way we do it is we just, we get there early enough. We pop in the Monster Energy drinks. There was a Rage Against the Machine cover band playing at that time. And yeah, right, I'm going to get there. Yeah, that's right, Luke. Dylan, you son of a bitch. Alice in Chains in Glens Falls, New York, man. That was so cool. It was kind of a bittersweet gig with Dio had passed and just the influence he's had on everyone. Mike Inez, bassist of Alice in Chains, he used to play in Ozzy Osbourne's solo group. He was very well versed in the Black Sabbath and the Ozzy stuff. So with Ronnie James Dio, he wore his Mike Inez wore a retro Dio shirt on while he was performing, which was really, really cool for him to see and a cool tribute. Later in that show, we got Acid Bubble, which is one of my personal favorite. James Hetfield actually loves that riff. He has said so about Acid Bubble when it came out in 2009. But at that show, Glens Falls, New York, we're all having a good time. And Ryan, my twin brother, had a little bit of a pain in his, his appendix area. And Ryan, at that show, he had his appendix split. He had appendicitis, and he didn't even know about it. So that's just the infamous show, was Ronnie James Dio passing away, me, Ryan, and our friends enjoying life out there in Glens Falls for Alice in Chains, and then Ryan's appendix split. I thought he was just being a wimp, to be honest. I thought he was being just dehydrated and dramatic and stuff. At the age of 22, that's what I thought. So we're 5 hours away, or about 2 hours in, maybe an hour in, and we had to stop in Malta, New York. Ryan's pains were just so bad, and me and Ryan stayed at the Days Inn there in Malta, while our other friends drove back to Buffalo. Some of the other guys had to go back to school. And Steve Wood, one of the nicest guys that I've ever known, one of my best friends ever, he drove about 5 hours back out to Malta that next morning to pick our asses up and then drive back home. And then the entire summer, Ryan was on like an IV. Our mom was his nurse. Twice a day he would be getting injected with stuff. So if you feel any weird pains in I think it's your lower right area, it can be appendicitis. Get that checked out sooner than later, or else, like Ryan, poison kind of spread throughout his body, and there's just craziness. So love you, Rye. You bounce back from that in spades. Hashtag brown piss. That's right. So, today's episode is Slipknot related. Slipknot's a band that has been around since 1999, even before 1999. Their first record was 1999. And in middle school and high school, the band was just too heavy for me. They're just too aggro, too aggressive. Slipknot is a band of 9 guys, and they're dressed in jumpsuits on stage, and they're jumping around stage acting like maniacs. You got a guy hitting keg cans. You got Corey Taylor, one of the all-time greatest frontmen in all of music and rock music. It was just too much for me, just kind of like Korn, the band Korn, middle school and high school. I couldn't get into, and I'd see them on TRL, and I don't know. I was more of a Linkin Park, Limp Bizkit, POD, Saliva, that kind of stuff, pre-Metallica. I don't know it's Metallica, but I had the opportunity to get one of Corey Taylor's books signed at a place called Book Soup when I was living in Los Angeles. This place called Book Soup in West Hollywood on the Sunset Strip. And I saw that not only Corey Taylor was going to be signing his book, which, okay, I got to grab it. Corey Taylor was getting this book signed. There he is. And he signed it, which is really, really cool. I haven't looked at this in a long time. Yeah, there he is. And it's just him just ranting and raving about things that bother him. That's Corey Taylor's book. Really, really good one. And Randy Blythe was also signing his new book at Book Soup in West Hollywood on the Sunset Strip. So I went right from work at Bel Air to Book Soup to meet some of my heroes for the first time and get the book signed. Really good books. This was D. Randall Blythe's of Lamb of God, which is pretty sweet. Dark Days. I could do an entire episode on this book, but long story short, Randy Blythe was jailed in Prague, Czech Republic for throwing a fan off the stage, and did not know the whole time that the fan actually had bleeding in the brain, and he passed away. So Blythe he wrote a memoir about his time in Pankrat's prison in Prague for 3 months. Really, really good book if you've never seen it, if you've never read it. Like I said last week, it's really, really good read and funny. So I was in Book Soup, and I'm in line. I'm one of the last people in line. It was raining outside. And I enter the place, and Randy kind of poked his head back in the front table, and he's like, "Hey guys, what's up? How's everybody doing?" Just to be nice. And we're like, "Hey, what's up?" And we're in line, and I look to my right, and on this show, I'd like to highlight today in music and a quote of the day. So this quote of the day today is it's by Frank Sinatra, and he said, "The best revenge is massive success. The best revenge is massive success," and that's always stuck with me. I began. It's kind of like Michael Jordan. You miss 100% of the shots that you don't take. And with the risk taking, I was in the insurance business for almost 10 years. And it was, for me, something I was trying to do, but I knew in my heart it wasn't for me. And I failed with a few different companies. I was let go, performance related. And, the best success the best revenge is massive success. And to me, success is regardless of what you earn, is being happy with what you have and being happy with what you do for work. So I'm at this moment right now in the real estate business, and doing this as a little bit of an outlet, as just this is my happiness, and I look forward to do this every single week. It's awesome. And that was just a really cool experience when I got down the line and I'm meeting Corey Taylor, the lead singer of Slipknot. And I thought about things like, what questions would I ask him real quick while he's signing the book? You want to pick these guys' brain just a little bit when you meet your heroes. You don't just be like, oh, hi, bye. It's really easy to do that. Ask them a question or make a comment and see how they take it. And the comment that I gave Corey Taylor was, their record just came out, the Chapter 5 record, right after Paul Gray's passing, R.I.P. Paul Gray. And I said that the song XIX is one of the most powerful songs that I've heard since Nirvana. And he liked that a lot. He said, well, thanks a lot, man. XIX, I'll include a link down there for that song. It's a really, really good song where you really hear Corey Taylor's voice, and it's not just screaming. It's just really, really soulful and touching. I really liked it a lot. Then when I met Randy Blythe, I gave him a line from the book and gave him a high five, and I had his assistant take a little video of us saying, "What's up" to Ryan, and they all said, "Hey, what's up, Ryan?" And that was it. That was my experience in Book Soup in West Hollywood. Really bitchin' spot if you ever are in Los Angeles, you want to get a good book. They have occasional signings there. And if ever you want to meet one of your heroes, you'd be surprised how many of these guys come out with books. Because when they come out with books, there's going to be a book signing. And sometimes it's in New York, Chicago, LA, sometimes just a full book tour. But, the one guy that was doing a book signing in 2013, early 13, was a man by the name of, mentioned earlier in this podcast here about 17 minutes ago, named Arnold Schwarzenegger. He came out with a book called Total Recall. Total Recall is a movie I could recite the entire, script to, really. But this is Arnold in his Total Recall book, and it's a really, really good book. His unbelievably true life story. Really awesome. It's got a lot of cool pictures on it. But as you could see, love that. There's no signature. I drove up to Toronto at 5 a.m. I left Buffalo. I went up to Toronto in early 13 to get this book signed and to meet Arnold Schwarzenegger. I met him in 2011, story for a different time, and I met him in the gym later on in LA. But at that time, I wanted to get him to sign that book. And I got to Toronto through rush hour traffic about 2.5 hours later. So it was about 7:30, 7:45. And I was 25 people too late in the line to meet him. And there were hundreds of people just wrapped around the block to get that book signed. And, I made up for it, met him. It was just really, really cool and everything. But give it a shot. If one of your favorite band members or celebrities are writing a book, go get it. Go get it signed if they do book signings. Who just did one recently before COVID broke out was Geddy Lee of Rush. That would have been pretty cool. So there you go. Onto the music video. That whole experience was one of the coolest experiences of my life. That was something else, and it was really strange with the timing and everything. My very good friend Mike Holden, who this was his shirt. It's really sweaty right now. I went for a run earlier. Yeah, you want to smell it? This is really cool long sleeve. This used to be Mike's, and I went for a jog earlier doing that. And Mike in 2018, October the 3rd, he passed away. He was struggling with his mental health, and he passed, and he's always with us, always with me. And the day that happened, I was in talks with a friend about going out to LA to participate in this filming of All Out Life. And I didn't know it was going to be the title of that song at that time. But after Mike happened, it was either me staying there and going to the funeral, or just to go film that music video, which would be a whole lot of rocking and rolling and moshing and stuff like that. So what I did was I decided, that night that Mike passed, October the 3rd, 2018, with a bunch of my friends, we went off to this place called Vinny's, and Marilyn Manson, Sweet Dreams Are Made of These was on the jukebox when we walked in, and we just had a cheers to Mike, and I'd booked the very next flight to LA from Buffalo, New York. So it was October the 4th, around maybe 6:00 a.m., that I went out to LA to film in this music video with a broken heart. So that whole experience really meant a lot to me, just to get out there and just, see some old friends and have a really bitchin' ass time. So I arrived, stayed the night at a friend's, and then that next morning went over to the shoot and was given this, which I have not worn since. It's a really beat up kind of jumpsuit that all the extras wore. The Slipknot S in the back there. Yeah. Really cool. At the time, I did not know what this was. I just thought, barcode and some cool lettering. But WANYK stands for We Are Not Your Kind. We Are Not Your Kind is a line from All Out Life. We Are Not Your Kind is on my bracelet here. And We Are Not Your Kind is really just to, be your own person, and I ask no one, just to do your own thing. It's really, heavy music is really underground. It's really underground to not be afraid to be yourself. So to me, that is All Out Life. That is We Are Not Your Kind, hashtag WANYK. Love it. I was issued that. There was a bunch of extras. It was just there's a big warehouse in industrial LA, and there was a big kind of parking lot. And in the middle of this parking lot, there was a bus, and there was a black bus, and I had no idea what was going on. And the director of this video was their percussionist Clown, who I got to shoot the shit with a little bit. He was there with his wife. And I let him know what had happened with my friend Michael J. Holden. And he connected with that. We connected for a bit, and it really meant a lot to me. So we started filming. And when I was in LA, I was in the acting industry. I was acting film, TV, commercial work. It was awesome to actually, for the first time in a few years, get back on that side of the camera, and something that I'll, someday maybe return to. But ultimately wasn't for me at that moment in time. Became a member of the Screen Actors Guild, had some really killer credits, my own IMDb, blah, blah, blah. That was fun to kind of pursue that. But to be on these big cameras and to just rock the fuck out, just to mosh so hard, was so fun, and just to get out all this energy. Where us extras in this jumpsuit, where we needed to be, I wanted to make sure that I was the very first person in line, the very first person to hear where we needed to be. And it was cool to meet, talk, and hang out, but I wanted to be exactly where the director was and where the creators were for this video. I wanted to be in this video, I wanted to be all over it. My whole body's covered. I got this wolf ring on, let's get that in, right? So that's what I did. I got onto the bus. There's only a few of us that were on the bus, that made it on the bus, including me. There was even fewer that were able to hang outside of the window of the bus while it was driving around. And I'm hearing myself mention the word bus. That weekend was the fight of the Conor McGregor and Khabib Nurmagomedov fight. And every time we would talk about the bus, I would say the boost. We have to go into the boost. The boost is the way that Conor says bus, or was it Khabib? Yeah, it was Khabib with boost. Yeah, there you go, right? And the bus would drive. They had big ass cameras facing the booth, and we'd be doing circles and be just rocking the hell out. And I'll include the link to the music video down in the description there. But if you go to the time right when the riff enters, around the 1 minute, 2 minute mark, you'll see a guy furthest left, which is me, and my arms are like this. But the thing was, at that point, the cameraman, they had a slow motion thing, so you just see my arms like this. But I was really like this. I was like bashing the hell out of the side of that booth, just going nuts. And seeing all those cameramen, and you had magazines there filming and taking pictures, and Slipknot would later include me on their page, their Instagram page, a picture of me going like that, and that was just the coolest. Oh, it was so cool. But it was an entire day shoot. It started on the booth, and then it began with us lining up. Of course, I was right in the middle in the front, and I was the very first one in the warehouse where they were like, all right, and action. And we all just run into this warehouse, just sprinting. I'm in a jumpsuit, and you just see me coming in. I'm all over the video. You'd have to really know what I look like there, but look for the ring and look for the craziest motherfucker. It was nice to really get it out there. There was that point, the last point of this video that we filmed was in this warehouse. They had what I knew this shit was awesome when on the back of my hoodie, there was a disco ball that was skull shaped right in the middle of that floor. And it was one of the coolest things I ever saw, a skull shaped disco ball. And they filmed us go circles, and they'd be hosing us with red colored water. My jumpsuit here is a little pink, you could tell. A little bit of rips here. I mean, shit. It was me. I was probably one of the older people there. There's a bunch of kids just doing circles and shoving and all that kind of stuff. And the two songs that we moshed or shoved each other and did circles around to was Disaster Piece and Sick. Two songs I actually wasn't too familiar with. I was only familiar with the later Slipknot records. I now own them both, which is amazing. But Disaster Piece and Sick, I'll never listen to those songs again because those songs were repeated all day long. And at the part of Sick, at the beginning there, he's like, "Pick up the pace," and when I heard that, I'm like, I'm gonna show all these kids how it's done. So I left that place battered and bruised and scraped and ripped, and it was just so cool. Again, I didn't know what the title of the video was going to be. It's until later. All Out Life. Amazing experience. Again, I said bye to Clown at the end of the day, and I was about to leave, and he was like, "Hey, I'm sorry about your friend Mike," and that was really cool to hear from him. Very, very cool. My hair is just nuts. It's a little better. So that was nice. Clown, his daughter passed away. I think it was a year ago. And I sent him a message. His daughter had some drug problems, so another RIP. But amazing experience. I took a Uber to Hotel Figueroa to meet up with my buddy Mike Lane. Mike Lane, one of my best friends that I met in my California stint, actually my best friend out there. He is a incredible listener, funny as hell dude. We have occasional hour-long conversations just about music, and someday I'm going to have him on the show. But with Mike, we met at the Hotel Fig, and we blasted some Theater of Pain, Motley Crue, and Def Leppard and stuff. Mike Lane is in a band called Detriment, and I'll put a link to his band. It's death metal, pretty brutal stuff. But Mike is from San Pedro, California, and he is a drummer frontman, and I relate to that. I met him in a drummer audition for a Doritos commercial that was to be on the Super Bowl. Didn't make it, almost did. But Mike and I, we bonded on drums, life, music, metal, all the shit. So Mike, what's up, man? Thanks for tuning in. We went out in the town that night, and then that next day we went and saw Def Leppard at the LA Forum. I've never seen Def Leppard before. I'm familiar with their Hysteria record. They were inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I think it was last year. Of course, this year 9 Inch Nails was to be inducted. With COVID, it didn't happen, so waiting to see what happens there. 9 Inch Nails, Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. But Def Leppard was inducted last year. That band is so fun. The whole entire vibe. Like I brought up Theater of Pain, Motley Crue, and I brought up Hysteria, Def Leppard. You know, bands like those guys and Great White, Winger, Warrant, Dawkins, Motley Crue, Rat. Just really good time 80s music. So fun. So went into the Forum, and the way Mike Lane goes to shows, he never gets a ticket. He never purchases a ticket. And he doesn't break in either. Well, sometimes. Mike, he goes and scalps. He finds tickets that people are trying to sell. I've never joined him when he's done this, but during my time in LA, I can't tell you how many times and how many invite-only experiences that I got into because of his ass. He had a way with talking with people to just to get these incredible ass tickets. So too many cool concerts and stories to say, but that to be with Mike at the incredible LA Forum where, you know, Zepp played and the Lakers used to play back in the Wilt Chamberlain, Magic Johnson days was so cool. I just posted up on the side of the arena with a 6-pack of Heineken, and I waited, and he came back to me with the ticket. He's like, "All right, fucker, you get in here before I take this," and he went and tried and find his own ticket. So Mike gives me a ticket to go in there, and it was just it's a blast from the past doing that. I get in and they're playing the song "Foolin'," and it was just starting, and at the time that was my favorite Def Leppard song, and it was just I get goosebumps thinking about it. It was so fun. So when I hear Def Leppard, that's all I hear. I feel like those goosebumps, like good time. Amazing. Mike ended up getting in the show. We went stage left all the way over there, and just had a really cool view of the band. And the drummer for Def Leppard has one arm. And he's had one arm since the mid 80s. And he had a motorcycle accident, I think it was, and he lost his arm. And the band loved him so much they didn't kick him out. He's a one-arm drummer, and he uses his leg to hit the snare, which is so cool. And to see that in person was really special. And the fans were all giving him an ovation at the end of the show, and it's really special. Steve Clark, I think his name was, R.I.P. Steve Clark, the almighty guitarist that passed away in the 80s, Def Leppard. Yeah. So Def Leppard, check them out. Hall of Famers, amazing. We went back to Hotel Fig, more partying, drinking more water, vodka, Grey Goose. This is water, but I only drink Grey Goose vodka around Mike. And then a bottle goes, and the second bottle goes. Good time. Miss you, Mike. We'll see you soon, man. On the way back home, I had to fly back home. Holden had his funeral. Sunday, I was flying back, and I went through Chicago, O'Hare, and I got to my gate, and actually, I'm sorry. I was in LAX, and I got to my gate to get to Chicago O'Hare Airport, and who's there at that same gate that's taking the same flight from LA to Chicago are a bunch of WWE, WWF superstars. Now, WWE, I started watching that in the summer of 98 when it was Triple H versus The Rock, SummerSlam 98, when the ladders were still yellow for the Intercontinental Championship. I was at John Lyons' place. And my life changed with that, because every Monday, Thursday for the next 5 to 6 years, every Monday and Thursday, I tune in live to watch Raw and SmackDown. So I was pretty well versed with the Attitude Era shit. Attitude Era was Stone Cold Steve Austin and The Rock and Undertaker and all those kind of guys. Just hilarious. But there's Shawn Michaels at my gate. There was Braun Strowman now, who is the current WWE champion. He had a bunch of different other guys. Jesus. I'm fucking forgetting those new guys' names. I'm not watching anymore. Owen and, oh man, I'm sorry. But I got a picture with Shawn Michaels, and I didn't do this. Shawn Michaels was a member of the DX squad, but I just kind of pointed at him, and that was just cool. I walked up to him. And like I said, with heroes, if you see them, you don't know unless you try, and you got to be nice about it. So I went up to Shawn freaking Michaels, a Heartbreak Kid. From diehard WWE fans, he's looked at as the all-time greatest next to The Undertaker. Shawn Michaels, he took a lot of hits to the head. I saw he was cross-eyed, so it's like, ooh. But he's still a stud. He's from San Antonio, Texas. Awesome. And I asked him, hey, Shawn, you mind if I get a picture with you? He's just like, sure. They were coming from Australia. They were jet lag as shit, I presume, but there was a super event going on in Australia at the time they were flying back home for. So on my flight, Shawn Michaels and a few of these other guys that were just around me, surrounded by WWE superstars and divas. It was awesome. Ryan says China's number one. I'm sorry, I forgot about China. China's the number one greatest WWE superstar of all time. WWE Hall of Famer. And RIP China. A lot of RIPs. RIP China. That was a really, really cool experience between leaving Buffalo, All Out Life music video shoot, chilling with my best friend Mike Lane, who I hope you get to meet someday, and then flying back home with the WWE superstars. It was just really, really cool. Got some nice pictures. Amazing weekend. But a few days ago, I took a delivery of some CDs. In fact, 19 CDs. I bought 19 CDs because I received my government check from Donald J. Trump. Thank you, Trump. And I hope I hope you're using your checks wisely, because I know I did. I bought 19 CDs because I still buy CDs. And Luke, yeah, sorry, it was a car accident with the drummer of Def Leppard. He lost his arm in a car accident, not a motorcycle accident. Thanks, Lukey. 19 CDs. You want to check them out? I'm not going to talk too much about each and every single one, but I thought I'd show I'm going to go Z to A, not A to Z for you. So starting with Z, starting with S. Sound City, Reel to Reel. Sound City was a studio in Los Angeles that looked like this and made a lot of the greatest records of all time, by Cheap Trick to Nirvana to Metallica, all this. But Sound City is no longer. Dave Grohl of Foo Fighters, who was the drummer of Nirvana, now owns the soundboard from Sound City and recorded a record in 2013 with some of the bands and the musicians that actually performed in Sound City recorded music in the studio. And there's some really, really cool moments on the CD. The one moment that stands out to me is Krist Novoselic, happy birthday, dude, 55. Dave Grohl, Pat Smear, so the surviving members of Nirvana, Pat, Chris, and Dave, they recorded a song, and who took Kurt Cobain's spot was none other than Paul McCartney on a song called Cut Me Some Slack. I'm going to include a link to Cut Me Some Slack down there. Paul McCartney screamed a lot in I Want You So Bad off Abbey Road. I love that record. I got a patch on my vest back there right by People Equal Shit from Slipknot. But Abbey Road, favorite Beatles record. Cut Me Some Slack, really killer song. They recorded a song. Paul McCartney and the surviving members of Nirvana. Pretty cool stuff. Neil Peart passed away recently. Rush, 2112. 2112. This is one of the all-time greatest records. That's Rush right there. One of the all-time greatest drummers. Neil Peart, Rush, boom. If I was to buy a Rush record, based on my research, the coolest, definitely no 70s, and 2112 is it. So 2112, what a good experience this record is. You know, you just listen to it, and this is the 40th anniversary edition, and disc 2 included cover songs of these songs by other musicians. Alice in Chains covered a song called Tears. Tears is so well done on this CD. It's on the disc 2. It's I'm going to include a link. It's just so good. And most of these CDs, by the way, these are CDs that were in my Save for Later on Amazon.com. You know that Save for Later area? You got it. These CDs were in my Save for Later for years. So thanks to the check, I was able to just clean house, which included this CD. Probably the most overdue purchase I've ever made in my life. A Perfect Circle. The lead singer is James Maynard Keenan from Tool. This has some of the coolest songs ever. There's a song called Blue. There's a song called Pet. Blue and Pet. You know those songs that make you feel like you're just the coolest person ever? Pet and Blue do that for me. Awesome record, cool album artwork, really mysterious. Christian and Zach Schifferly and my twin brother Ryan introduced me to this CD. So thanks, guys. And I know Mike was a big Perfect Circle fan, so I got that one. Ozzy Osbourne came out with a brand new record. This record was not supposed to happen. Ozzy had a really bad past year and a half, 2 years. He re-aggravated his back that was injured in an ATV accident in 2003, and he was really put out. So Post Malone, the rapper, his producer Andrew Watt, kind of got Ozzy out of bed to record a record, and this is it. And there's a song called Ordinary Man on it, featuring Elton John and Slash from Guns N' Roses. He does the solo at the end there. I love the pack of this. I mean, how old school Ozzy is this? Andrew Watt took that picture of him pissing on whatever it is. So, Ordinary Man, the self-titled track on it. There's a few songs that have made me cry. Ordinary Man has made me cry. I'll include the music video to it in the description. 9 Inch Nails, The Downward Spiral. Jonathan Davis Korn, his favorite all-time record right here. I can't say any more about this. This is a really spectacular record by a band, like I said, that's going to be inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame with Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross. Trent Reznor's from Cleveland, Ohio, pretty close by. So I kind of have a little kinship with him even. You know, he's almost from Buffalo. But Downward Spiral, man. 1994. Amazing record. So Mudvayne, Lost and Found. This is Bob's. Bob Sudzik's one of his favorite records. I needed to get this. Mudvayne, Lost and Found. Mark Lanegan, The Winding Sheet. Mark Lanegan of the Screaming Trees. There's a few songs on here featuring Kurt Cobain, which is pretty cool. Including Where Did You Sleep Last Night, which is a Leadbelly song. This guy epitomizes the whole Seattle movement. Distorted guitars, soulful lyrics. Everyone loves Mark Lanegan in Seattle. Mark Lanegan. I mean, he's up there with Chris Cornell. Good stuff. I own Lynyrd Skynyrd's first record. Lou Reed Transformer. Lou Reed Transformer. To me, I don't think there's many people that more epitomize rock and roll than Lou Reed. David Bowie, Mick Jagger, Luke Easterday. That's right. This is a really cool record. Kirk Hammett, he has a shirt with just that face on it. Kirk Hammett, guitarist from Metallica. And when he performs, he has his shirt on lately. So that's the reason why I own this record, was Kirk. So thank you, Kirk. King Diamond Conspiracy. King Diamond Conspiracy. Killing Joke. They have a song on here called The Wait. 1980. The Wait. Metallica covered it on their 87 Garage Days EP, and I just had to own it. Duff McKagan kept brings this CD up. A lot of my favorite rockers bring this CD up as far as punk rock goes. Punk rock I've been really getting into lately. So I had to start somewhere, and I'm starting right here. Here, and recently was Bad Brains and Misfits. But Killing Joke, really, really cool record. And it's not all fast. It's really fun. It's got a lot of layers to it. Judas Priest, Unleashed in the East. 1979. Yeah. I want to learn more about the 60s. I want to become the 60s. In my head, I wanted to dive into the 60s with a CD. And this one has been on my to-do list for the longest time. Surrealistic Pillow. It's got a song on there called White Rabbit. Band right out of San Francisco, the whole entire phase. This came out in 67, Summer of Love. This is like watching Austin Powers. GNR, Chinese Democracy. I was surprised how Appetite for Destruction this was. The first record, Appetite for Destruction. But I liked it. Fun record. And Lars Ulrich was in the music video for a song called Better. Better! Check it out. Garbage. Butch Vig produced Nirvana's Nevermind record. Butch Vig is right there. This guy right here. He's the drummer in Garbage. Shirley Manson is the woman singer. Nothing screams the 90s more than a good rock band with a girl singer. There's just so many of them. Alanis Morissette, Cranberries. Love it. This is a really fun one too. Stupid Girl. I'm Only Happy When It Rains. Metallica covered that acoustically. Pretty sweet. I now own Foo Fighters' first record. Dave Grohl did the vocals, drums, bass, and guitar on this. Pretty sweet. Kurt Cobain died in April of '94. This record was recorded in October of 94. It came out in early 95. Pretty sweet. Dave Grohl is a fan of my favorite Black Sabbath record, which is Volume 4. Dave Grohl on this tour wore a Volume 4 long sleeve, which I need to have. On to the last three, which are all over the spectrum here. I'm not just a metalhead. I like it all. I like it all except for pop country and EDM, and I'm not just a metalhead. I love it all. I listen to a shit ton of smooth jazz these days. When I'm around the house and me and Ashlyn are cleaning or chilling, smooth jazz is on all the time. A little fun fact for you. Deep Purple in rock. Mike Holden had the CD as well. Just looking at the comments here. Thanks, guys. Deep Purple in rock. So sweet. Gary Holt, who I received a cameo from in Helsinki, Finland, from Ryan, he posted something about Deep Purple recently, and they made a comment. And I only know Smoke on the Water and Highway Star. And Deep Purple is Lars Ulrich's favorite band. Lars Ulrich inducted Deep Purple into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Richie Blackmore, he formed his own band, Rainbow, after this. But in the early 70s, Deep Purple's creative output was so vast, and it kind of intimidated me to go check it out. So I'm like, where do I start? So I commented on Gary Holt's picture on Instagram, and I'm like, where does someone start for Deep Purple who only knows the hits? And one of the guys mentioned In Rock. And I saw this in Mike Holden's collection, so I had to get it. Yeah. There's a song on here called Child in Time. Right, check out Child in Time when this is done. Deep Purple and rock. This has the rock. Awesome record. Come, my lady, come, my lady. You're on butterfly, sugar, baby. This Crazy Town. These guys were featured on the first Ozzfest in the late 90s. Not the first one. One of those early ones, maybe 1999 Ozzfest. Metalheads called these guys the Butterfly Boys. Remember in the late 90s when the boy bands were really huge? Crazy Town, these guys, I mean, I personally love that scene. The baggy jeans, the Vans, the goatees, the baggy shirts, the frosty hair, all that. But I'll tell you what, this record, you only know that Butterfly song, right? With the green sticker. You'd think they're a one-hit wonder, which, you know, they are. Everyone only knows that song, Butterfly by Crazy Town. But this has some thump on it, man. The keyboards, the drums, I mean, it's just a really fun, Korn-esque, Edema, just a really fun-ass listen. Unfortunately for me, on eBay, they didn't say it was edited. So I got this, and it came in edited, and I contacted the guy and just found out about an hour ago he's going to be PayPaling me back $3, and I'll get an explicit version. Even though this is edited, if you want this, it's yours. I was going to give it to, Zach Shifley. This is yours. So there you go. I'm going to keep it for you, all right? And the last record, the uppercase A. AC/DC, Let There Be Rock. And that is very true, as always. Let there be rock. Let There Be Rock. Bon Scott, the original lead singer, he passed away. He choked on his vomit, I think in 1980 after Highway to Hell. No, 79? Back in Black was 80, and then 78 was Highway to Hell. Shit. But Bon Scott, this is one of his later AC/DC records. AC/DC starts with an A, right? So when I was first getting into music, I would go to Media Play, and you go to the CD sections, and of course, right there on the left and the front's A. and I'd see all of AC/DC's records, and I'd see all of Aerosmith's records. So I would get Toys in the Attic and Rocks for Aerosmith, Sweet Emotion, and so on. But then I bought a bunch of AC/DC records. I want to thank my dad who's tuning in right now. I love you, Dad, and I miss you, and I look forward to see you again. AC/DC, my dad introduced me to. He would pump the shit out of Back in Black, driving around to, pick up hanging baskets or marigolds and flowers at surrounding nurseries in the area, or hockey practices again. And that's where I discovered a lot of my music for my first time was my dad. And I look forward to be that kind of person with my kids someday. Because music is life and life is music, right? AC/DC, Let There Be Rock. Lars Ulrich, drummer of Metallica, his favorite AC/DC record. Not only his favorite AC/DC record, but Rolling Stone actually interviewed several of my favorite rockers a few years ago. And he was asked to name 15 of his favorite heavy metal records, and this one was one of them. Pretty damn cool. It's just 8 tracks of just straight rock. They were coming off a record that their management wasn't too happy about. They weren't the happiest about. So they went into the studio to just bash out some shit. First song, Go Down, right off the bat. Bad Boy Boogie, and it's got a whole lot of Rosie. The almighty Angus Young, R.I.P. Malcolm Young, his brother. Check this record out. It's really, Deep Purple in rock, and this. Really, really sweet. So we're at 56 and a half minutes. Any questions, let me know. Guys, thanks for the comments. I'm going to get some merch going for this little project of mine. I Asked No One with Kevin Ray. Some tank tops, hoodies, hats. They'll come sometime. But I like to have a shirt that says, I still buy CDs. And if you still buy CDs, I think it'd be pretty cool. Get the logo right there. Yeah. But I'm doing well. We're doing well. Right, Chucky? Doing well, man? Cool. Doing good. I know with COVID, it's crazy. My brother in Greece, he's got to stay home through August. Imagine that. Could be the same for us. We'll see. Yeah, right. I'll get some. I Asked No One pins and patches. We'll get some condoms too, so don't worry about that. Thanks, Hannah. We're doing well. We fill our time with some fun things. We're cooking, and it was Ashlyn's birthday yesterday. We had a fun time FaceTiming with her family and whatnot. But there's a few songs that come on. I have an Ashlyn playlist, and there's a few songs that come on that we just kind of slow dance to. And Life Eternal by Ghost and Under Your Scars by Godsmack. It's like when those come on, it's just we find each other wherever we're at. And just kind of, a little slow dance. Isn't that cute? So you guys stay happy, stay healthy, stay hungry, stay heavy, and stay home. I love you. Thank you so much for tuning in, guys. Peace. I'm going to click end stream here, but it's always a few seconds of me just kind of chilling.